something in the wake of your smile. I get a notion from the look in your eyes. Yeah.
Alright, what's going on guys? Using Actionz here, and today we are going to be talking about the girl that you see in the school flashbacks. This girl's name is Jessica Gray, or Jess for short, and she is an old school classmate of Blake and Lynn Langermann. Then we have a man named Father Loutermilch. He is a teacher at St. Sybil High School that is also the creepy, multi-armed monster that taunts and chases Blake in the school segments. Now, we are going to talk a little bit about Jessica and her life before it had tragically ended. At home, Jessica's father was abusive. We know this from an email that says, "I know you've dealt with her dad and his big personality," this suggesting that he's a dick, basically. This was an email to another teacher talking about how Father Loutermilch thought it was a bad idea for Jessica to go on a field trip and she should stay at the school with him. We'll come back to that soon, but in school, Jessica was friends with Blake and Lynn. She wanted to be in a relationship with Blake and possibly do other things that I don't think fourth graders should be doing, but Blake kept pushing Jessica away and was more into Lynn at the time. And then behind the scenes of everything, we have Father Loutermilch, who abuses and rapes Jessica, that has seemed like multiple times before. And yes, this video did just get a whole lot darker. But with Father Loutermilch doing these things at school and Jessica's father abusing her at home, she has nowhere to turn for help except for Blake. Now, I don't believe Lynn and Jess were really good friends, but they did play the hangman games together, so that might be something. But obviously Lynn has forgotten about Jessica because she says this at the very beginning of the game.
Jesus, Blake, are you really sleeping?
I'm awake.
You should have slept last night.
Well, I had to get that hospital footage organized.
You were calling out some other woman's name.
What?
In your sleep. Jessica, I think. You know a Jessica?
Oh, no. I mean, I was dreaming about Jessica Gray from when we were kids.
Oh, yeah. I haven't thought about her in ages.
Now, before we get into Jessica's death, I want to explain a bit more of what kind of things had really happened with her and Father Loutermilch. There is one school scene that really makes me wonder two different ways, while mainly the rest of the school segments are pretty straightforward for me, at least. It is the one where you start off in a pool and the demon, monster, Father Loutermilch, whatever you want to call it, chases you out, and then you have to enter the women's restroom. Inside here, you will find a shower running with blood all around, and I'm pretty sure it's even pouring blood, and a banging on one of the stall doors, and when you open it, blood rises from the toilet and spills onto the floor. Now, this first theory I have about this is a little bit crazy, but somewhat makes sense, I guess. So I believe all this blood and in the women's restroom could be Jessica possibly entering the time of her life where she is entering womanhood, because the blood is in the showers and the toilet. And there's also one of the school recordings played backwards that talks a little bit about this.
Let me show you the rugged path to adulthood. Those moments when a child learns those things everybody else already knows, doesn't talk about.
Now, the second theory is that possibly these are just signs of Father Loutermilch beating and raping Jessica in the women's restroom, maybe catching her off guard while she's showering, and then the banging on the stall door was possibly Father Loutermilch trying to get into the stall after Jessica. I just really don't know about this segment, but those are my two theories. Something else that happened with the two was Jessica staying at the school, not going on a field trip with the other students. And as you can read the email on screen here, Father Loutermilch thought it would be best if she stayed with him in the library. Now, there is a segment in the game where you get chased into a library, but it is a maze and very confusing to work your way through and memorize. Do I believe the library is actually set up like this? No, I don't, because that'd just be retarded. When you are little and you are scared, things come a lot crazier in situations than they actually are. So what I'm trying to say is, I believe even though you are playing as Blake, you're in the mindset of Jessica at that very moment. So to a little fourth grader, possibly a somewhat normal library would turn into this maze of terror while you're being chased and in the dark. And now, of course, you get basically to the end of the game where Blake and Jessica come into contact with Father Loutermilch and gives you to a bullshit lecture and then pushes Blake out of the room. Also, if you pay attention to how Loutermilch acts and even touches Jessica in this scene, it is just wrong. Also, when Father Loutermilch asks Jessica if he has to call her father again, you can see Jess in pure terror as a smirk comes across Loutermilch's face, because he knows what will happen to Jessica if her father is called because she's being bad at school.
Do I need to call your parents? Jessica, do I need to call your father again?
No, please.
Just more pointing to the fact that her father does bad things to her as well. And since I just talked about that, I also want to show this scene real quick where Jess and Blake were talking over Instant Messenger, and Blake asked, "What was that site you were just on?" Something around the lines of that. And Jess says nothing, but after the little conversation, it will show you what she was looking at, and you can see for yourself here. So now back to the ending of the game. You are walking to the exit when you hear Jessica shriek in terror and turn around to see her running and Father Loutermilch walking behind her. So then you chase them all the way to the staircase, open the door, and see Jessica laying on the floor, face all bloody, but if you really examine her body, you most likely will notice her neck and how it is actually broken. Now I have two theories about this as well. I'm not sure, but I know one or the other must have happened. But either when Jessica went to run up the stairs, she tripped and broke her neck from the fall, or Loutermilch pushed her and that broke her neck and gave her a bloody face. Not totally sure, but I'm almost positive it was an accident. Here's a couple clips on why I believe it was an accident.
Dear Lord, sweet Jesus, forgive my sins and accept my gratitude. Thank you, God, for killing the child. And you killed her. You saw what she was. You knew the sin rested on her shoulders as much as on my own. You took her, and I could not. You killed her. And I never told a soul. I kept your secret. Our secret. Thank you. Thank you. You never told a soul. You let the smallest sorrow of her suicide wash over the unacceptable tragedy of her murder.
But now I want to talk about one of the biggest parts of this game for me. And I'm just going to come out and say it. I believe that Jessica's death was from her tripping or being pushed, like I said. But Father Loutermilch made it look like she committed suicide by hanging herself. Now there are recordings in the game that support this very well. I will be showing you those now.
He said she did it to herself. He said he was protecting you. Pieces of my skin stuck in the barbs. It was too late to hold her up. And I was just a kid. She hanged herself before I could stop her. Or she didn't. No. Wait, not her. He. Fuck. Raining blood. Dripping off her shoes, I think. No. I tried not to step in the blood because I didn't want to leave tracks. We're out. I got Jessica out. It was cold, but the snow had just started. We'll find a grown-up and we'll tell them what happened. We'll be okay. It's not my fault.
And that last recording you saw when Blake got Lynn out of the mines, in the recording he says, I got Jessica out and we will find a grown-up and tell them what happened. That to me says Blake has actually saved her before from Father Loutermilch, but wasn't able to this last time. But back to the cover-up, there is a school segment close to the end of the game. It actually shows what had happened after Blake found Jessica's body. It shows Father Loutermilch chasing Blake into a restroom and singing this song to him.
You see, oh, be careful, little eyes, what you see. There's a father up above, and he's looking down in love. So be careful, little eyes, what you see. Oh, be careful, little hands, what you do. Oh, be careful, little hands, what you do. There's a father up above, and he's looking down in love. So be careful, little hands, what you do. Oh, be careful, little mouth, what you say. Oh, be careful, little mouth, what you say. There's a father up above, and he's looking down in love. So be careful, little mouth, what you say.
And once Blake comes out from a stall, Father Loutermilch continues chasing him. And then when you get back to the staircase where you first saw her dead, her body is hanging. So after Father Loutermilch basically saying that if Blake says anything to anyone, he will hurt or possibly even kill him. But something else is that I believe Blake suggests to hang Jessica's body up. I told Father Loutermilch about the Hangman games Jess and Lynn played, and that could have given signs that she wanted to kill herself or hang herself. In this clip here, when Blake picks up the Hangman transparent paper, you hear Father Loutermilch say, "Thank you, Blake. Very generous of you."
Very generous of you.
The Hangman game. Like Lynn and Jess used to play.
Now, I also want to talk about the monster that chases you in the school segments. Like I said earlier in the video, this is Father Loutermilch, and you can tell because of the birthmark on his head. But I believe some parts of the monster tell about the horrible things that this man has done. So I believe the multiple arms are a sign of abuse, the tongue is a sign of sexual intent, and if you get a good look at the monster, it appears to be actually masturbating, and that is also connecting to sexual intent. So the last thing I want to talk about in this video is the weird and unexplained phone call you get in one of the school segments when a tongue comes out of the phone and strangles Blake.
Hello? Hello? Oh, thank God you're alive. I need you to stay calm. We're going to get you help. We'll get you out of there. I want you to find a place to hide. Someplace safe where you can remember the taste of her kiss when you felt her neck break, you diseased cocksucker.
So this is Father Loutermilch on the phone calling Blake and basically saying it's his fault that Jessica had died. This would also explain why towards the ending of the game recordings, Blake keeps saying it's not my fault. Even though Father Loutermilch is putting the blame on Blake, the tongue comes through the phone, also highly suggesting it's Father Loutermilch. Alright, so I hoped that helped some of you guys understand more about the Outlast 2 storyline and about Jessica Gray and Father Loutermilch and what their characters had to offer within the story. If you do have any questions about this, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will answer them as soon as possible. And yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like, you're new to my channel, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!